I'm going to let you in on a secret. But first I'm going to say, welcome back to M. Hood Discovered. I'm going to let you in on a secret. Most people don't know this about me, but I actually have 3 sisters. I'm going to eat 2 of them tonight. So I don't mean for you to be lost, but maybe you are. Maybe you think I'm going to eliminate 2 of my sisters, cannibalize them here in my kitchen. That's not quite what I'm saying. So, long time ago is where this comes from. When the settlers first came here, before everything went awry, crazy, chaotic, and injustices and all that, and wars and stuff broke out, people killing each other, people fairly got along for the most part, right? But the settlers, when they got here, they couldn't really cut it. They were having trouble. And the natives made some friends with them. You know, they were friendly at first. And this is where this saying comes from. The 3 sisters. The natives supposedly told the settlers, if you want to make it through winter, all you need is the 3 sisters. And what did they mean? What are the 3 sisters? Well, the 3 sisters are beans, squash, and I have the 3rd sister, but we're not going to eat her tonight. Corn. 3 sisters the natives spoke of. These 3 things they lived off of: corn, beans, and squash. All kinds of squash, from summer squash to winter squash, right? This is considered a winter squash, but technically it's a gourd, right? This is an Italian bottleneck gourd. Many other names for it. I like to use the pronunciation gagutsa. Some people gaguts, others kakuza, kakuzi, bottleneck gourd, bottleneck squash. You see, when I was harvesting this earlier, it broke right here. Look how big it is. Some people refer to these as baseball bat squash because it looks like a kid's baseball bat. Yeah. And here we have the beans that I'm going to cook tonight. Red. I grabbed the wrong can. Here, let me do this again. Here we go. I got the right can this time. When I was in the store earlier, I didn't buy a lot. I bought a few things, but I did get a couple of cans of beans. I got a lot of dried beans in the house, but if you're going to buy canned beans and you're not looking for the cheapest but the best tasting, go for Goya. If it's in the store, go for that. These are really good canned beans, like probably the best canned bean product on the market you can find, and they're not crazily priced. There are other fancy canned beans that are priced higher than this. I got this for $1.59, which seems like a lot. It could always be more. But yeah, it's a treat. They're really good. It's going to make a really good meal. And I'm going to have some pork with this. Kind of like pork and beans, right? This was on sale. Conacue. You see a little bit of sausage there. Should be a really decent meal with some rice. Of course, I'm doing jalapenos with it, a bit of onion, and some garlic. Now I got to get to work. Got a lot of cutting to do. I'm going to start by putting together a half-assed trinity. Trinity is usually celery, onion, bell pepper. Those 3 things, right? Celery, onion, and bell pepper. I forgot to get celery when I was in the store earlier, and bell peppers are like $2 a piece, so forget that. I got jalapenos instead, and garlic. It's gonna be good, minus celery and bell peppers. It's gonna, don't worry. No worries, absolutely no worries. This is where you make that decision How hot do I want it to be? Do I want it to be so hot it's still hot tomorrow when it's leaving me? Well, if you leave the seeds in, that's a guarantee. As it stands at the moment, I just want something to eat, so a little bit of heat is fine. Well, I lucked out with this garlic. Look, 2 big hunking cloves of garlic. I'm just gonna peel them and dice them up just as per usual. Before I do that, I want to get some heat. Here, look at this. That's the board. See how everything is diced and all that good stuff? Yeah, you're right. Need some milk in that tea, but this is what I'm really getting at. Bit of olive oil. Oh yeah, I feel the heat. I'm just gonna get a bit in there. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm not craving a lot of spicy stuff. I think this is about it for me. Little garlic, jalapeno, onion. I think the only things I'm going to add on top of that, some black pepper and some salt. Maybe some salt. I don't know. That sausage is going to have some flavor for sure. Definitely a little bit of black pepper and maybe a little bit of salt. I just don't feel like eating heavy spicy stuff right now. I might actually hardly be having some heavy spice. I don't know. Without the seeds, jalapenos, right now it's hot as fire, right? It's got some heat, but without the seeds, it's gonna cook out that heat. So we're just gonna have a bit of a smoky jalapeno flavor rather than burn the backyard down, you know, and it's got a smoke on the water tomorrow when you're sitting down in the bathroom. I'm going to take a bit of the heat out of that. I had it on medium. I'm going to come up to a 3. I want to watch it because I don't want to scald or burn things. Because sometimes medium is a little too much for olive oil anyway. So I think at this point we'll definitely put a little bit of black pepper in just to give it a little more of a flavor. And I think I might as well just add a bit of kosher salt, not too much. I think it's going to go a long ways. Not much at all, right? Just a little bit. All right, here we go. Sausage. This is probably the last sausage I'm ever going to buy. Well, the last pork. I think in the future, I'm pretty sure I've made this decision, right? People offer me wild hog, feral hog, and in the future in Texas, I'm not turning it down. Yeah, you're right. So for the moment, we're getting rid of this with this meal tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it up into little chunks like that, beanie weenie kind of thing, and stick it in there. I think I got the heat where I want it. I might turn it down just a little bit. You know what I'm curious about? I know there's got to be some of you out there watching this that are gardeners, growing your own food, and therefore there's probably some of you gardeners out there who are growing food in a suburban environment, even in a city. You find it really difficult when you have too much after harvest and you try to give it away to some neighbors. You find that difficult to do? Like they're kind of scared to take it from you, like it's weird? You know what I'm saying? with me and these gugutzas right here. A lot of people, when they talk to me about it, they don't know what it is. A lot of them think it's weeds I'm growing out there. They don't realize. There's some that think I'm growing mirliton, and then there's quite a few people that don't know what a mirliton is or a gugutza is, and they're born and raised around here in southeast Louisiana. It goes to show that the culture's getting scrubbed out of people here, the local culture anyway. It's not a culture I grew up with, but I did grow up around gardeners. I grew up gardening myself, growing my own food. So people will talk to me about these plants I got out there, what I'm growing, and then I will offer them a gugutza. Hey, would you like a gugutza? And they look terrified. They got this terrified look in their face. You know, and it's hard to understand why they turn you down. Are they scared it's going to be complicated to deal with, or what? I think there's two things to point out. They think it's weird. They're so used to buying food at the store, they think it's weird that someone in a neighborhood like this is growing their own food, and they're scared. And the reason why they're scared usually, sausage just went in off camera. The reason why they're scared, this is what my experience is with people in New Orleans anyway, and it might be like this here too. They're scared that the food you're growing is full of lead or some other kind of contaminant, because there's so many people around here that believe the soil is contaminated. And yes, and there are parts of New Orleans where that is true. I used to live in the Bywater, a neighborhood in New Orleans, and the soil had a huge count of asbestos, lead poisoning and all that. And I would grow food in the backyard, but in containers and soil that I bought, and I just could not give it away. These gugutzas, they get of such a big size that I can't eat the whole thing in one sitting, right? So I think this, what I just cut off, is going to be enough. I thought it would be not too difficult to give away gugutzas around here, because I thought surely there's going to be people that know what it is, because people have been growing these around the New Orleans metro area for a very long time. These are Italian, so therefore that means, yes, there's a lot of Italians in the area. But as we go on through the future, in a lot of places in the West, in Western cultures, things like this are disappearing. We're losing parts of our culture. You know, people aren't growing food anymore in their backyard. They think it's weird when their neighbor is. And oh my goodness, forbid you ever want to try and get rid of some trout, because you have too many trout, you don't feel like cutting them all. That's pretty bad too. That's not easy to do, especially if you're living in a suburban neighborhood where most people don't fish. Maybe you're the only one that does fish. And even though it's trout, speckled trout, they still won't take it from you because they think something's wrong with it. They think it's weird that you're offering them free food. 9 times out of 10, it's because they don't know how to cut fish. And sometimes you'll be knocking on a door, thinking you're doing a nice thing, giving your neighbor some fish, and they're like, oh yeah, but it's not cut. They want it, right? But they don't want to cut it. So now they're asking you to cut the fish. And the whole reason why you knocked on the door to give them the fish is because you didn't feel like cutting all those fish. Say, you got a limit. You went with your buddy and he got a limit, but you get to your house and he's dropping you off. He says, oh, I don't want all my trout. I just want 5 of them. Here, you can have the rest. And you're like, what? Because you're ready to cut 25 fish, but you ain't ready to cut more than that. I'm just saying, for instance, give you an idea of the scenario. And then you go knocking on all your lily-livered neighbored houses, right? See if you can get rid of some trout. And they're into it, but you got to cut it for them. And That's contrary to the point, right? And then they start offering you money and you're like, I can't sell you fish. Oh, no, I don't want to buy the fish. I'll just pay you to cut them. And you're like, no. Learn how to cut fish if you're going to live around here. You know, people say things like, if you're going to live around here, you need to be able to speak English, or at least definitely you need to read it so you know what the signs are, right? I just did a video about an intersection that's really dangerous, and there's a sign that says no left turn. Do you think people are ignoring the sign because they can't read it? No, I think mostly they're ignoring the sign because they're ignoring the sign. But yes, there are people driving, we've seen it in the news, right? Driving big trucks, and they can't read English. They can't pass a proficiency test. But maybe they can cut fish. Still, not sure I want them living next door to me, because that's kind of scary. Driving a big truck and you don't know what that sign coming up says, and I'm right next to you. I think we got something going on over here. While I was cutting the squash, the onions started to caramelize on us, and that is cool. Just for prosperity, I'm going to put just a little bit of water, maybe about that much in this can or so. Wish it around. Get what's left of the bean pasting out of there. Get it mixed into the water, and then add that so we have a little bit of moisture. But that's going to cook off. But I think we need to do that for sure. And then just let it sit for a while on a low heat, like 3. Pretty sure that's what I want to do. However, I want that to come up to a boil, and then I'll bring it back. So I put it back up on 5 medium, right? We'll get a nice rapid boil, and then we'll drop it down, and we'll just let it simmer for a while. We need this squash to stew down a little bit. All things in good time, for sure. I got other things to do. There's some rain coming. At first I thought I was going to get out of the house, go to the water and do something for the other channel, but then that rain popped up on the radar, so I decided, shoot, I'm hungry, let's go ahead and make some food, and by the time we get to the end of that, we're eating some food, we can just finish up and go. Rain chances will be gone, I think. So I have been able to give away some gugutsas, but just to people I know for a fact I can give them. Right? Like Alex never had them before, but he wasn't shy. He took one. A friend of mine down the road took one. He was excited. He'd had them before. He was really, really excited. But of course, he's a coon ass. You know what a coon ass is? It ain't anything racist. It's just the Louisiana version of a redneck, if you like. So there are people around here that still know what a gugutsa is and how to cook them, and love the dickens out of them. But there's so many people around here that think it's weird that you're growing your own food, that you have your own chickens. Not to discourage people from doing that in this kind of environment, in a concrete landscape like it is, right? Or in a suburban, if you like, a suburban environment or an urban environment. Go ahead, grow your own food and everything, but expect some people to think you're weird, and it's going to get awkward when you try to give them tomatoes. But there are people who will graciously, they will thankfully take those tomatoes from you and eat them. And then there's the ones that are just going to look at you like it's awkward, like it's weird, like you're trying to sneak something up behind them, like you're trying to poison them. That's how far we've come. That's how far we've come away. People need to get out there and touch grass is what they need to do. Now that's the boil I was looking for. We're going to go ahead and go back to 3. And it's going to be a while, but I'm going to be coming in here stirring it occasionally. I'm not going to show you every time, but what I'm looking for is the flesh of the gagutsa to go just about translucent, clear. And that'll tell me I'm in that territory of being ready to eat. Yeah, you're right. Come on. That's looking good. Do you see what I mean by you looking for it to go translucent? Let's get us a piece. Remember, when I started, these were white. The flesh was white. You see how it's gone almost clear? There's a little bit white left, but if you look close at them, oh my goodness, I'm just going to get my fingers in there. See, that's what I'm saying. Very light green, very clear, very translucent, not white anymore. That means it's done. Here you go. You want a better look than that? Not too spicy like I planned, but with a lot of flavor. You taste that onion. The gagutsa has a bit of a flavor of its own, but it usually is going to take on the flavors that you cook it with, like the garlic and the onion, and a bit of that black pepper and the jalapeno. Not overbearing with the heat here, except for the actual heat. I should let it cool down a little bit. It's kind of hot. And the rice is good. The beans taste really, really good. And like I planned, it just has the right amount of salt in it. It's not too salty, it's not salty at all. Of course, the sausage brings a lot of flavor to the table here. This is really good, like I knew it would be. This is not my first time making something like this. But I must say, this is a very country food. And having these things together, with the corn or without the corn, it's an old school dish. These combined together. There's all kinds of things you can do when you combine squash and beans and corn, but you don't necessarily have to combine them. But yeah, back in the early days when people first got here, they were advised to grow these things. And I must say, pretty good advice too. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to get in the other room where the AC is burning the midnight oil and enjoy my dinner and see what else I can do before it gets awfully too late. Yeah, you're right. So I tell you what, thanks for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, being a member of the channel. And yeah, you're right. I'll see y'all next time. Whoa. Wow.